Hello and welcome to the Birds of a Feather Colors podcast.
Thank you for being here. I'm Amy.
I'm Ryan, and today we welcome Jon Colbert.
He played bass on both of our albums, You Are Music and Colors. You keep lifting me up. Hey, Jon.
Hey, Jon. Good to see you. Good to see you.
It's great to see you. It's so great to see you. And thank you so much for doing this. It's amazing. And it's hello to everyone who's listening to this. So
it's our second podcast.
Yes, welcome to the second episode of our Colors podcast.
Yeah.
And we hope that you're all at a cozy place where you can lean back and enjoy this together with us. And we're so excited to welcome Jon Colbert, the wonderful Jon Colbert. Hello.
He's doing great.
And, you know, you have to know, Jon, he's an astonishing musician, and he played bass on both of our albums, on Colors and You Are Music. And it's just wonderful, you know. He added pure magic to all the songs, and we couldn't be more thankful. So, and it's an honor to have you here and to be able to talk to you. And yeah, we'll just let people know a bit more about you, because you are a bassist, a guitarist, a singer, a songwriter, an engineer, a producer, a manager, an event coordinator, and you're playing with the following bands. I'll just pick some. I hope that's all of them or most of them. You play with the Black Bank Folk Band. You play with Damien Dempsey, Jam Mitchell, Paddy Casey, Cherryfish and the Electric Sideshow, and the Poor Boys Wedding Band. And that's probably not all of them, but, but most
and your
of
good
them.
selves, of course. And
But
Birds of a Feather, don't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just wonderful. And we try to learn as much about you as we could, you know, from everything you found online as well. And we have so many questions ready, and we're so excited about this. And we don't even know where to start. But I think I do know.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk just for a second about the circumstances, because 1 week ago we tried to record this and there was this huge storm raging everywhere, and then your power went off, like it was gone. And so how long did it take for your power to come back?
We were out, so we were to start the meeting at about or start recording the podcast at about 10. I think the power went to 10:15. And then it didn't come back till 3:30 the next day. Yeah.
Oh no!
But you had a concert in the evening.
I did. Luckily, it was only at that point there was only small pockets that were still without power. But our house was one. But where I was playing up the road had power still, so that was fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, and now it's very strange, because it's these weird circumstances again with everything that's happening, you know, in Ukraine, and we're all a bit worried and a bit upset. And so, but I remember, you know, when we talked about yesterday, we played an online concert and we didn't really feel like playing music, but then our manager Zoe, she said, you know what, in times like these it's even more important to just play music and to do a lot of positive things, you know, that we can try and find the beauty in life, you know. And something like this, to do a podcast with you and to learn more about you, is for sure so positive. And so we decided to do this anyway, and just to talk about lovely things with you. And
yeah, exactly. We'll try and put the news out of our mind for an hour anyway.
Right, that's the way to go. So yeah, let's talk about, I think we'll start off a bit with how you grew up. Because as far as we know, you grew up in Raheny, North Dublin. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm from a big family, so I had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. A lot of So I've my brother Mark plays with Black Bank Folk. He's a drummer. My brother Andy is a guitar player. He lives in Sweden. He gigs over there.
All right.
Then my other brother Connie, he's into film. He's a lecturer in film. And my brother Paul was a drummer as well. He was the first kind of drummer in the house. So
wow.
my sisters also play piano and do their best at singing as well. So my mum and dad were musical as well. My ma played.
Have you ever had a family band, like
the most
an
we had,
official family band?
No, I've been in bands with Dara. I was in a band with my brother Andy on guitar. So Andy and Dara were musical collaborators for a long time. So that's how, like myself, that's how I got to meet Dara first, was through a band. We were back in a fella called Jack L. Jack Luke, and he still gigs around now. He's a great singer. And Dara was on keys, my brother Andy was on guitar, and I was on bass, and we had a fella, Keith Walker, on drums. So that's how we got to meet Dara,
nice.
but that was through my brother Andy. Then my brother Mark, I've been in some bands with him over the years, and then obviously we're in Black Bank Folk together. So that's as much as it's ever got as a full band, is two of us at a time.
Oh, amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
I remember Jer talked about a band, that's how he met Dara, I think, through your brother Andy, because they were playing, what was the band? It was a funny name.
It was called Dara.
No, the band of his brother, of Andy. It was something like the Bad Hangers.
The Bad Hangers, yeah.
Just some funny name.
Yeah,
and I think
a Green Day type band from the north of Ireland, and Andy was with Dara up to a point, and then he went and played with them for a while, and then I got playing with Dara, and then Andy came back and joined again. So.
All right. Yeah. Oh, nice.
John, when and how did you fall in love with music? So what's your first childhood memory of music?
Probably listening to Ghost Town by the Specials on a little 7-inch single that we probably co-owned, myself and a couple of my brothers, and just listening to that. But my dad would have often played music through, we had a little speaker in our bedroom, so he'd play music through that speaker in the mornings to wake you up. So he'd play like Johnny Cash or John Denver or sometimes ABBA or whoever, like through the speakers. You'd wake up listening to that music when you were growing up.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
I'm going to have to pause a second because one of my dogs is crying, and I'm worried that all you're going to get on the recording is a crying dog.
Oh, go ahead.
Don't worry, go
back in 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, all I could hear every now and again, I could just hear.
Yeah, but what are their names?
What are their names, John?
Rosie and Penny.
Oh,
yeah.
Rosie and Penny.
So
they're so cute.
Yeah, they're lurchers, so they're half greyhound, half whatever.
Oh, wow.
Can you show them again?
Yeah.
Sorry. But they're so cute.
Rosie.
So that's Rosie.
That's Rosie there, and that's Penny's the older one.
Are they brothers and sisters?
No. Penny's about 9, and Rosie's maybe 2.5.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
They're not related. They're just a similar-ish breed, but basically, lurchers are mongrels, so they're a mixture of anything. But a sighthound would be the main kind of ingredient in a lurcher.
All right, but they're so lovely. You love dogs, right?
I do.
I remember when we first met, for the first recording, you had you talked about your dogs and how much you loved them, but I think one of them was a bit ill at the time, and
he's dead now since. But he had cancer, so he had to get his leg amputated. So he lasted about another. We had him for about another, I'd say, nearly a year, with 3 legs, and then he was fine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But they're so cute, and dogs are amazing. We have 2 cats,
Yeah,
cool.
But we love dogs, so amazing.
Sorry about that.
Oh, John, but so you said like you grew up in this family where basically everyone was making music then, right?
My dad would have played music through from the record player downstairs through the little tiny speaker in our bedroom, and we'd wake up every morning to Johnny Cash or John Denver or ABBA or whoever he decided to play, Neil Diamond. So it would have got us like kind of I suppose there was always music around. And then when I was very young, I was in a choir, the Palestrina choir in Dublin, that used to sing at the Pro Cathedral. So we'd travel around Europe at various kind of choir conventions.
Wow.
And my two brothers were in that choir.
To which countries?
We were
which countries?
We were in Germany a couple of times. We were in Holland, France, Italy.
Oh, wow.
I think that was about it. Yeah.
Wow.
And how old were you then?
I was between 8 and 10, I'd say, or maybe 8 and 11. Yeah. I was 8 when I joined the choir.
That's
and then,
amazing.
Yeah, up till about 11. So yeah, it was a great experience. I probably didn't appreciate the choir music so much at the time. I was starting to get into heavy metal, so yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening to Iron Maiden and Metallica and all that when I was traveling around singing all these songs by Mozart and
As a balance.
That's it, yeah. You got the evil from the heavy metal coming in, and then you got the somewhere in the middle,
But that, what else? The thing is, we checked out some videos, and you played with Jan Mitchell together with your brother Mark.
Yeah.
And what stunned us was the way that you and Mark also played together. The way you are, the tightness, and everything. That's just something that it's incredible, and that's probably just because also you're brothers, and there's like this natural connection and everything. And
we've been playing together, I suppose, on different bands. This is probably, we played in a band called Neon originally, and then Black Bank Folk, and then Jen Mitchell. So we've been. This is probably our third band we've been in together.
Right. And so Neon was your first band.
No, the very first band I was in was a band called Sine Nomine, which is Latin for no name, because we couldn't think of a name. And that was that was with my friends. That was with my brother Andy and my two friends Mark and John Sheeran, who were also brothers. So it was two sets of brothers in the band. And my other friend Kieran was a singer for a while, but then Andy took over as singer. And we would have done a lot of covers like of Alice in Chains and Fate No More and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. We didn't really write much of our own stuff, but that was great just to kind of learn your trade and started doing some really good gigs with them. And then from there I went on. Probably the next big band was with Jack L with Dara and Andy, and we would have done quite a bit of touring around Ireland, and we were in America, and then after that was probably that's where I got to know Dara, and then Dara was the next kind of band, and then Neon happened around that time, and Neon I kind of left Dara to stay with Neon because we got signed to Atlantic. But then that went pear-shaped as most record deals do. But it's all part of the learning, So, but in between that time, I got to meet Jer and work with Jer in Bowlane Studios. So, and then I became friends with Dara. So, I kind of was working on and off with Dara over I played bass on Dara's first album, and then I left, and then I played a little bit of bass on his second album. There's another fella. What was his name? I can't think of his name. Anyway, he had a couple of bass players in between, so I kind of came in, did a little bit of a session. I played maybe 2 or 3 songs on Dara's second album. Yeah, but I've been friends with Dara ever since.
But that's been a long time too. Jared taught us. I think it was they've known each other for 25 years or something.
Yeah, it'd be about that. When we went to America with Jack L, it was for the Olympics in 96. So, and it would have been maybe the next 2 years or so where I think Dara put his album out maybe around 99, 2000. He put his The Eye of the Clock album out. So we would have been recording that in the couple of years before that. So, and then the demos for that was where I would have met Jer. So that all would have been in around that time,
Oh, wow. Yeah. And to those of you who are listening at home, maybe they don't get it. Jer, to those of you who missed the first podcast, is our producer and engineer and mixer and Jer McDonald, and a lovely man. We'll talk some more about him for sure. And Dara, he played, keys and Hammond and what else did he like? Well, I can't. Just all the piano stuff he played. Those things on our albums, and there's also Eza, of course, and we'll talk. And I think, as far as I know, he's in one of the bands that you're playing
Yeah, Essa,
the wedding band.
Essa plays with us in the wedding band. Yeah. So
yeah, it does.
And and Essa's played with on different sessions I've been on with Jer. Essa's Jer's used Essa and myself as guitar and bass. So which is why obviously he chose us for your first album, because we'd done a few different sessions with Jer over the years. So yeah, that's how. But I knew Essa from the wedding band. So.
Oh, nice. He keeps calling you the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that's how you met Jer and Dara?
Yeah.
And how? So you met Essa through these recording sessions as well.
Yeah,
that's how you met him.
Yeah, Essa knew the singer of the wedding band, a fella called Niall Donnelly, who was also in another originals band I had called 16 Layers. Myself and Niall have been playing for probably 25 years together, but he met Essa through just the gigging scene in Ireland, and himself and Essa had a band together called Glittering Things. So I kind of met Essa through Niall, and then on the sessions then after that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Amazing.
That's amazing.
You know, that was for us. It was so. I don't know how to describe this, but I remember we came to the studio and we played together. You know, you, Dara, and Essa, and the two of us, and that was an experience we'll never forget. You know, like the way you played together and what you added to the songs and the beauty. Like it's all, you all have your own wondrous ways of playing. You know, and it's just it's hard to describe, but it's for us that was something that we will never forget. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the second album. You know, it was probably weird for you because you had to wear masks and everything and social distance in the studio. But you know, we could just be at home and we were zooming in and you were playing, and to watch it all happening without, you know, we didn't participate. We were just watching you do that for the second album, and we could concentrate even more on how you all played, and that it's just stunning. It's unbelievable. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
When did you first learn to play an instrument?
Probably when I was about maybe 9 or 10. I played.
And which instruments?
I was trying to play bass, and we formed a band. Myself, my brother Andy, and my two friends Mark and John Sheeran formed a band with another fella, Shane O'Boyle, and my brother Andy.
You were the bass player.
Yeah, Andy chose guitar. My friend John chose guitar. My other friend chose drums. So I was left with the bass. So yeah. I was listening to a lot of Iron Maiden at the time, and Metallica, and Iron Maiden's bass player Steve Harris, I really liked him, and Metallica's original bass player Cliff Burton, I really liked him as well. So that kind of I was kind of zoned in on those two, and they were a huge influence on me picking up the bass. Like, yeah.
Wow,
amazing! But you play a lot more than that. Like you play, you sing. You sing beautifully, and you play the guitar, and you play bass. And I also saw, like, do you play mandolin as well, or ukulele? Or
yeah, well, I in lockdown, I decided to try and learn some more instruments. So I picked up ukulele first, and then and it was just a great instrument for just writing songs, because you're playing the same chords. They're called the same chords that you play on a guitar, but they're not. They don't sound the same, so you can just get it. You can play the exact same 4 chords as you're playing guitar, but you get a different song out of it. So and then I was kind of like, okay, if ukulele, I mean, I have a basic understanding of that. So I said, oh, mandolin, and then I went a bit mad on mandolins. I bought about 4 of them online.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah. There's a second-hand website called Adverts, and I was just on there all the time buying cheap mandolins, and then. Then I was like, okay, what else can I pick up? So I started learning bouzouki, and I picked up a bouzouki.
Wow!
Oh wow!
So a really nice. It's a guitar body, but it's a bouzouki. So yeah, I picked up one of those a few months ago. So that's that's the latest kind of learning project.
Wow.
So I know I just get enough to learn a few chords so I can write a bit on it, and then you can play a few bits on it, you know. I probably need to get stuck in to try and master one of them, but at the moment I can get it by on all three, like.
That's amazing.
Every instrument you learned by yourself, you know. You had no teacher or something.
No, yeah, definitely the bass, and the bass I just taught myself. Guitar, I've probably friends showing me chords, and then with the ukulele and mandolin, it was online, just looking at videos online at different fellas showing you different things.
Yeah,
and learn. There's a great Irish bouzouki player called Derry Farrell, and he has a couple of tuition things online, so he just kind of went onto those and picked up a few things about rhythm and just chords and stuff like that. But there's so much great stuff on YouTube for people teaching you, you know, whatever instrument you want, so, and whatever level you want to learn at as well, which is great. So yeah, that's
amazing.
Wow,
raised by the internet. Yeah.
Do you also, like, a thing that really I want to know about you is you write your own songs, and as far as I know, is he called Jimmy Sheeran?
Yeah.
This is your friend from Black Bank Folk, right? Yeah. The two of you are like you founded the band. Is that?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, myself and Jim, we suppose, I mean, we've been playing for years anyway, and then around the time of 2016 was 100 years since the 1916 Rising in Ireland, so it was a big centenary, it was a big kind of event. So maybe 2 or 3 years before that, I'd been away in Canada with another band, 16 Layers, and I was in an Irish bar, and on the wall of the Irish bar there was the picture of the leaders that were executed, and one of those that was executed was my granduncle, Jon Colbert, was one of the ones executed. So I was telling this outfit at the bar, he was expat, so he was like, I was like, see that over there? I said, that's my granduncle Con. And he was like, he said, 2016's coming up soon. He said, you should, being a musician, you should write an album. You know, people would be lapping it up. You get gigs everywhere. And I was like, really? So when I got back to Dublin, I was saying it because I knew Jim. It would be fairly influenced by Irish folk music a lot so more than I would at the time. Since then, I've got very into it, but at the time, so I was saying it to him. I was like, we should do that. We should write an album about the 1916 Rising. I said, you know. So we started working on it then. And then obviously we knew the deadline was coming up, 2016, so we had a deadline to work towards. So yeah, that's how the band started. And then we obviously, you know, it developed from there. Like, you know, Jim's an excellent songwriter, so just he'd be sending me ideas, or I'd send him chords, and he'd send back vocals and melodies on top of that. And that's how we worked back and forth, and we get together and write on bits. So and then it developed. We knew then obviously it wasn't just, you know, we could write songs not just themed about 1916, and that's how the kind of band formed. And then we had some excellent musicians in for our first album and our second one. And then during the meantime, then two of those, my brother Mark and Sean McKeown, the pipe player and plays whistles and stuff, they decided they'd join the band full time. Now they've been with us since the start, but they were always just kind of coming in for the recordings or coming in for the gigs. It was always kind of me and Jim, but then they decided between the last album and this album that, you know, they'll join full time. So they're contributing more now, and they're writing songs with us as well. So it's great that the musical palette is much broader now, because Sean is from a traditional Irish background. I mean, his dad and his brother both play, and you know, he's been involved since he was tiny. He's been at sessions and soaking that up, so he brings that element to it, like and then we bring our things, and then Mark brings his particular style of drumming to it as well. So it's really developed the sound. And we got, I mean, even though I play bass, we got a bass player in, a fella called Jeff Dorman, and it frees me up to play guitar and just focus on that. So it's really good now. And then we have Sharon Hussey, who plays with us on the last album, and she does the recordings with us as well.
She plays the fiddle, right?
And, she's multi-instrumentalist. So so but the five of us now is Black Bank Folk, basically.
Wow. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
You know, we love these albums. They are so beautiful. The first album, The Rising, it's kind of as you said, it's like a musical documentary somehow about, you know, the rising and everything. But it's just when you listen to it, you're so moved by the lyrics and by the stories you're telling. And it's especially two songs. I think one of them was called Brother, Oh Brother. And the other one was If Only. Those were the two that really stood out to us. They're so beautiful. And we love the rest of them as well. And as you know, and to those of you who are listening, you have to know that. There's a song by your band, the Black Bank Folk Band, and they wrote a song called Come to Me. And that's I have to try to explain this. When we first heard the song, do you know that when it happens to you, when you listen to a song and it finds the straightest way into your heart, and it just, you know, like it starts all of these emotions and goes through your whole body. It's just such a beautiful song. And so, I don't know what happened, but I just fell in love with this song, and I still am in love with this song, and you are as well. And that's how we even got to wonder, how do you write the songs together? Specifically, like, how do you do it? Are you kind of like the lyrics first kind of writers, or music first? Or, do you know, when you and Jimmy Sheeran, when you
it would depend, together? Really. It depends on songs. Sometimes, like, would Come to Me, I had basically the end of the song, which is the kind of heavy part. And then we were trying to figure out, and I had the kind of Come to Me refrain, and I kind of knew the style it should be in, but lyrics wouldn't be my forte. So myself and Jim were working a few years ago. We were down here actually in Wexford at the time. We used to come down here to write, and you know, I was kind of explaining the kind of feeling like I wanted for the song. And Jim's great at just coming up with words, but you just describe what you want. And then he came up with all the words and the imagery as well, which he's brilliant at, you know, just kind of setting a tone for the song. So and then we developed the melody, and then we said, okay, well, we have to start slow, so we kind of brought it back from the end, and we had a slow version with the nice melody. Then we had the end, and we hadn't put them together. So only when we got to the studio then, we put them together, and we realized that, okay, well, it should crescendo in, and then it has this big huge outro, like. So that's with that one. The other ones, times Jim would send me nearly a completed song, and then I'd kind of I suppose produce it up, you know, depending on what I think in my head I think it should probably sound like, and then between the two of us, you know, we develop it. That's how we used to work. Now with Sean and with Mark, like, Sean might send you a whistle idea, or he plays ukulele as well, so he might play a few chords and a melody. He's great with melodies. So and then even with stuff, I'd send him maybe chords, and I go, look, I'm not really sure about this, and then he'd send back a couple of whistles, and then we put them on top in Logic, or and then I might send that to Jim. Then, you know, we get together sometimes, and we're in a room writing. Mostly it'd be me, Jim and Sean over in Sean's house. Mark lives down in Kilkenny, which is kind of far away, so it's difficult for him to come up for like a writing session. But I suppose with great thing with online, you might send Mark an idea, and he has a recording set up in his house, so he can put down some drums and send them back, and you know. But nice. The way it's been worked at the moment is pretty much, there's no set way. It's like, you know, any one of us can start an idea. The lyrics would predominantly come from Jim. Very rarely I might have like If Only, I probably would have written a lot of the lyrics for that. You know, but mostly
it's your ancestors, your story.
So then most of the time Jim would have the lyrics. I might have a melody, but a lot of the time I just kind of send him an idea. He sends me it back with a melody and some lyrics on it, and I go, okay, and then we'd kind of start from there, really, you know. But it's great now that we've had Sean in as well, and more involved in the writing. It's really taken, like, the new album now is sounding, you know, it's really developed. The sound is developed from the first to the second to the third now, and the third now, I think it's really found its feet. You know, I think there's been developments in each of the albums before that, but I think now it's kind of, it's getting its stamp, like, you know.
So when's the release date of the third album?
I don't know. I was recording last night. I was down with Gavin Glass, Gavin Glass, the producer. So we've been with him for all 3 albums. He started off in studio in Dublin, then he's moved down to Wexford, which is great for me. But he's a lovely studio.
Yeah, it's much closer.
Yeah, lovely studio down the road in a lovely place called Curracloe. The beaches of Curracloe is where they filmed Saving Private Ryan. The Normandy scenes. They filmed them down there. But yeah, Gavin, we're kind of, the release date, we don't know yet. It'd probably be, I'd say, the end of this year, maybe September. I mean, the recording will be finished. Hopefully, we're back in next week, and maybe we might need one more day after that, and then mixing. But I think the plan is to probably slowly.
So the recording is done by now.
Nearly, no, we still
not
have.
Nearly.
Last night we were going through what's still needed, so we're making notes and marking stuff. So I'd say, hopefully, one more day, possibly 2 more days recording, and then mixing. So I think the idea would be to hopefully have a single out, maybe by April, and then maybe another one out in the summer, and then maybe another one out when the album gets released. So it's to kind of, to drag it out. So you know yourselves from releasing your own music that every time you have something new, it's great. You get you can, I suppose, gather a bit of attention, and then you kind of carry that. You want to carry that to the next single, and then add on top of it, and then carry it to the next one, and then you have it to the point. It's like, okay, now we can put an album out. That's the plan at the moment, is to put singles first and then the album.
Yeah.
You know, the way we do it, we release every song of the album, like in every 6 weeks or something. We're gonna release a video and stuff like that, because then you can give the audience something to watch and to create momentums. Because nowadays everyone is so used to watch stuff every single day, and you have to give content to people, to your audience.
You guys are great at that. Like, I mean, you should run a class on how to release things. Because the content you have is brilliant, because you have the single, and then you have the video, and then you put an acoustic version of it out, and then you have like a couple of acoustic performances in the meantime. So like, I'll definitely, by the time we come to putting out the single, I'll be picking your brains on strategies, and the model you guys have for releasing is brilliant. Like, there's always something new.
Thank you.
And like, you engage a lot with the fans, so like the fans are constantly growing. So that's what's so great about it. It's like we'd be a little bit lazy when it comes to that sort of thing. Like, we'd have a great energy for the push, and then it's like it wanes, and then it's and then people will forget about it because you forget to keep. I mean, as you said, you have to. People are used to stuff every day, and they want things every day. Every time you check your phone, if it's a band, you want them to give you something new. So But like, that's what you are great at. That you are constantly giving content to people, but it's an acoustic song.
Yeah, thank you so much.
But if you look at how much everyone is loving the Get Back documentary, recently the Beatles one. And because it's like, it's content from a band from the 60s that no one had. Everyone thought everything was out by them. But now it's like, I have all this stuff that we never, like, I mean, obviously they put out the Get Back movie originally, but all this extra footage that no one knew they have, and then done the way Peter Jackson did it, it's like a treasure chest. But like, yous are constantly given that. So that's what's great about it. Like, if anyone discovers you, but if someone discovers you guys today, and yourself, if you discover a new artist, you want everything about them. You want to have so much. It's like, so you got so much to go back on. You've got so much to go, right? Like, have they got this? Oh yeah, there's a version of that. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's a version of that. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jon.
Oh, but it's so inspiring for us as well. Whenever we hear those songs and the things that you recorded, that you yourself added to the album. It's just wonderful. So that's inspiring, you know. It's gives us a kick.
And Jon, we're
to do
already
the best
planning the
with-
next recording session.
Oh, great.
It will be.
No, don't tell him.
It will be in a year.
Okay.
All right, we'll try.
So get your agenda.
No problem. Looking forward.
Cher doesn't know it yet.
Sure, I'm just joking. No, but the next recording session, we're just planning it a little bit, you know.
Great.
Yeah,
And
we can't wait.
it's-
And we really hope that we get to go back to Ireland and meet you all
Yeah.
again. And that would
But
be lovely.
I think it will be in spring 23. Yeah, right.
Right.
That
something like that.
date. Yeah.
Great.
But so how have your recording sessions, the one that you're still working on, how has it been so far? Like, how is the vibe and everything for
it's
the new
been-
album? And
Yeah, it's been great. Now we've kind of the way just because of logistics, we've been doing a little bit kind of piecemeal, which is normally how we. So the first session was in January. We had 3 days with Mark on drums and myself and Jimmy. So the three of us went down with Gavin and we put all the drums down. So myself and Jim played along with Mark, and then we went back then. In February or the end of January, I think it was February, and then we had Sean came in, put down his pipes in one day and all his whistles.
nice, yeah.
And in the meantime, myself and Jim were like adding acoustic guitars and vocals, and then we had Sharon came down last week. She put down fiddles. We only thought she'd be doing it on a few of them, but she ended up playing on nearly everything because she's just that good. And then we've been, chipping away at different stuff
Amazing.
every time. Like, we do a little more vocals. So at the moment, and then Gavin is multi-instrumentalist, the producer. So he'd always be getting ideas as you're doing the stuff. So once the drums were down, the acoustics were down, he's like, right, the base of it is done. Then we got Jeff. Jeff came down for a couple of days and put some bass on as well. But Gavin would be constantly adding things. He'd be like, "Oh well, I can hear this keyboard," and he'd get to play it, and then he'd like, "Oh, a bit of a," and he's got loads of instruments down there. So he's like, tons of keyboards, organs, guitars, amps, everything. So he'd be like, "Oh, I think a pump organ." He has an old pump organ that he got from some. It's a German pump organ. He bought it in some synagogue in Dublin, and it's like he has.
I think I saw it on Instagram or something.
yeah.
I saw this clip on Instagram when he played it.
Yeah, so he's pumping
I
with
saw it
his
on
feet.
your. Yeah.
So like, so he's constantly thinking like that, like, and so that's why I hope it's 2 more days. But I know it'll be probably 1 more day for vocals and for a couple of electric guitars. And then Gav said, look, I need a day to kind of get organs down and stuff like that. So he basically spends a day adding what he thinks the songs need. I suppose similar enough to Jer, like where Jer will kind of go, okay, no, don't worry, I have that in my head. You know what I mean? He has that.
Yeah.
He kind of say to you, okay, right, you go, did you get all the bass there? Did you get all the guitar? He goes, yeah, it's grand. Now I know where it's going, so don't worry, that's all in there. You know what I mean? So Gavin's similar in that way. He has the vision in his head, so he knows then, where it needs to go afterwards, and he has the tools, at his hands, to make it go there. Like, so. So it's going great. We're really inspired by it. We're really delighted to be able to share the music with everybody. We have a gig on the 16th of March.
Can't wait.
In Whelan. So we'll get to play a couple of the new songs at that. We've been playing a few of them over in the lockdown gigs and stuff like that. But we haven't gigged in Ireland in over 2.5 years, probably. Nearly, I'd say. So.
Yes, that has been so. I mean, it's been a lot worse in Ireland than it has been here. Like you guys really couldn't leave your districts and everything. It was so.
We definitely
intense.
had. We had times of very, extreme lockdown. You couldn't go between 5 kilometers from your house and stuff like that for a while, and then it would lift.
Yeah.
Then you couldn't go outside your county, and then it would lift, and then you'd be locked down again, and then it would go. So it's up and down, like for 2 years, but thankfully.
But how is it right now? Are people?
I think all the restrictions are gone, pretty much. Like they said, the last of the restrictions really is like kind of mask wearing in shops and schools and stuff like that. But they said by Monday, the only place you'll have to wear a mask is in hospital settings. you know.
Yeah.
And,
Same
and
here,
people,
yeah.
are they eagerly waiting to go to a concert now, or how is it?
Yeah, the pubs are
there-
full. Like, you know, I mean, people have been able to go to concerts on and off over the 2 years as restrictions lifted. But the very first, only maybe a couple of weeks ago, were the first where you could go full capacity concerts. So yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been back gigging in the pubs, and they're packed.
Yes.
They're packed, and everyone's like, you know, it's like the
So how's
the end
that? How does it
the fall
feel
of
for
Rome.
you?
Everyone's going mad. Like, yeah, it's great and not so great. You know, I mean, it's great to be playing to full places again and having people can just. But then you also remember that like people want to get on stage and sing in your mic, and you're like, get away, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
good and bad. Yeah.
They get a bit overexcited, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, but you sure missed it, right? This
Oh,
like
totally,
I
yeah.
remember when we recorded the Colors album, and Asa was talking to us on the phone, and he said it felt so great because he couldn't play anything, he couldn't play gigs, he couldn't record anything, and so when you guys could come to the studio, you know, in Dublin, it felt so great. He said to just play music again, and just even though it was tough, you know, we felt so sorry for you guys because there was so much time pressure, and it was a lot of work. You had to wear your masks and everything. So, but I don't know. It's just, how is that for you, by the way?
Oh, Grant. I mean, to be honest with you, that was great because as Essa said, there wasn't like, you weren't gigging and you weren't going out. See, I mean, gigging for us as well is our social outlet. So if you're not gigging, you're not seeing anybody really apart from your family. So, you know, it was great to see Essa and Dara and Jer in a room, and you know, even if we had masks on, but just to have the crack and be around them again for, you know, the few days, and yeah, just be able to like play with lads in a room again, like, you know, because it'd been so long up to that point, you know, so even with the restrictions, it was still good. Like, you know, it was a great, I suppose, release for us all that we could just get together, you know. So obviously, it was nothing like the first album experience.
Yeah, sure.
Which was like one of my favourite recording sessions I've ever done in my life.
Oh, yeah.
It was just coming in, and you'd have the rolls in from Lidl, and you'd be making the fancy coffee, and you know, and then we're all in the room in swords, and and playing with the lads like as well. It was just it was lovely, and I've done a lot of sessions,
lovely.
you know, with different bands, and I think that is up there as the most enjoyable I've had. Like, you know, it really was, you know, and I think it shows on the music as well. You know, I think it translates.
Yeah, it does.
It translates,
it
like,
does.
definitely. So,
yes.
Oh, thank you, John.
Yeah.
That was same for us. That was it was an unforgettable experience and just so wonderful. You know, the vibe and everything, and just to hang out with you and talk as well. And it was just so much fun and so beautiful. And
as I was eating his chocolate all the time.
He's a great man for chocolates, is Essa, yeah. He was finished his in about half an hour, then he's looking over at everybody else is going.
Yeah.
It's
it was
wonderful.
amazing.
You know, I wanted to ask you this. What do you love about working with Jer as a producer?
It's supposed like with Jer, it's just always easy with Jer, you know. One, he makes you nice and relaxed. So I've worked on him in lots of different sessions with different bands and with different dynamics, and like, I suppose with anyone who's recording, you always know that you can be very critical of your own performance or your own take. So you might do a take and you might go, "Oh, I'm not really sure if that was 100%. I felt it was a bit of a mistake around whatever bar 25 or." Whereas with Jer, he's just always listening, and he has the big picture in his mind, so he knows, and he'll just go, "Oh no, I have that." And you go, "You sure? Do you want me to do that again?" He goes, "No, I have that. Between take 1 and 5, I got it. Yeah, you're grand. You're all done." So it's the confidence that he brings. I mean, he's always cracking jokes. It makes everyone at ease. And as well, you just kind of go, well, if Jer thinks it's okay, it's okay. You know what I mean? As in, if Jer says it's good, it's good. So you don't even, because Essa will be very particular as well. So it would be very kind
Yeah.
of, I have to make sure, I don't think I got that, like, and he'd be very hard on himself that way because he's such a perfectionist. Whereas with Jared at the helm, you just go, right, you can kind of forget about that side of yourself because you know
Let
he's
go,
looking after it. Yeah, he's looking after that.
Yeah.
And just enjoy playing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can leave it to Jar and just enjoy the session. Yeah.
And because his picture of the overall picture of what the song's meant to be, is so clear in his head. You know, he can guide you very easily. You know, and I think he even knows that before going into a project. I mean, if he knows. Like, he knows the style of the artist he wants to record, and then he can pick musicians to fit that style or to fit that vibe or to fit that thing. Because, I mean, obviously, personalities are different, but I think he really matched, you know what I mean, personalities, like, especially with your album. Like, you know, I mean, you know, like, Dara's really easygoing, and, like, again, Dara, you just give him a little bit of instruction. It's like, yeah, grand. But he's always coming up with stuff anyway, but, you know, nothing's difficult to Dara, you know. It's just like, you know, there's anything you want. And he's worked so well with Jer for so long that there's that trust. There's never any kind of...
They are a great team.
Yeah, there's no clashing. You know, sometimes you can have egos if a producer... you know, was too dominant, or a producer was, you know, was just clashing, because, you know yourself, musicians all have egos, and some of the worst, you know, and so the producer, but yeah, it's you know, so if you matched it wrong, it could be awful. But like Jerry's just so good, Jerry's so good at just matching, you know, personalities and styles and playing styles, because you know, because of his knowledge of, because he's worked with so many people, and his knowledge is so good, like.
Yeah, he's got that feeling. I think it's so important to him. He said it's way more important to find the perfect match with the musicians, you know, I can't find the right words. Just to match it, you know, so it's the vibe's okay. That's much more important sometimes than to have the perfect sound or whatever, you know.
Absolutely. Because that just makes everything else work well. You know, it means then that, like, it means as songwriters, you guys are much happier because you're going, like, this is easy. There's a nice vibe in the room. Instead of looking over and seeing some fella with a grumpy face, you know, or like, you know, I don't get to play a million notes, you know, whatever. You know, where it's just like you keep...
And he's the world record guitar player.
So it's just so important to keep... It's also important just to make the music flow, and then you'll get the takes quicker. You'll get better takes, you know, and Jer is great at facilitating all that and just guiding it, like, just, and it's so gentle, his style of production. It's not like, you know, he slowly and kind of gently guides people to the right take, and as I said, because his vision is so clear, he knows when he has it, even if you don't know it. You know, he knows, oh no, that's grand. No, this is because this song is going to go like this, and you don't need to do that there, so that's fine. And with the right personalities, they can just go, yeah, Jer said it, so that means, you know, the master has spoken, so that means it's good.
You're so right. But you know, when you say that you have been working with Jer and Jon and Dara, Jon, with Dara and Eza for all these years, and you all have been session musicians for so long now. Like, you probably must have had so many experiences and also things that didn't work out as fine, you know, and as easy. What are like the challenges that come when you're a studio musician? Like, if someone's listening here and thinking, oh gosh, you know, I want to do that, I want to do what Jon is doing, what advices could you give, you know, to a studio musician?
I'd say get yourself a home recording setup and record yourself as much as possible. Like, the main thing is to get used to recording with a click, recording with, you know, then you can move on, because you can do all that by yourself in your house. And if you're used to recording yourself, so when the green light goes and someone says, right, we're going to take now, you don't get phased, because that can be very nerve-wracking. Like, when someone goes, okay, this is the take, and you've got 4 other musicians all going for that take at the same time, it can be very nervous. So if you've practiced loads at home recording yourself to a click, so you're looking at the screen, you can see the green light go, and you go, right, grand. Now obviously it's not as much pressure at home, but that all builds up. So when you go to a studio and you have a click going in your ear and someone goes, right, let's go, it's not throwing you, so it can make you as relaxed as possible. And then it's the other thing I'd say is just try and play as many different styles of music as you can. You know, even if it's at home, play along. So if someone's looking for, say if you're a guitar player and someone's looking for country guitar, you can play that. Someone's looking for rock guitar, you can play that. Like S is great at that. He can turn his hand to something. He's got his definite sound. I would say S is like he's an amazing rock guitar player, but there's also a country touch to S's playing. But like he can play anything. You know, you say S is a massive U2 fan. So like, you know, if you reference Edge, he's like, yeah, that's grand. You know, so but that's like, for Essa, that's just from gigging for years with loads of different people, and obviously hours and hours of practice. So I mean, practice, but playing as many styles as you can, getting used to recording, because the pressure of recording sometimes can make people wilt, and you can go into your shell, or you can overthink it, and you can play too much. Whereas, and that's the other thing, is knowing what serves the song best. Because you could be an excellent player, you could be the best bass player in the world, but if you don't know when not to play, then you'll ruin a song. Like, you know, unless you're playing jazz or like funk fusion, you know, you'll go in to play on something and you just play way too much. And then for the likes of Jer, it's his job then to try and peel you back. So it takes much longer for him to try and get a simple take, you know, and being able to take direction, really, that's the main thing. You know, when someone says, don't have too much of an ego. If someone says, no, that's not good there, or that take is crap, or that part isn't good, be able to go, no problem, what do you want next? You know, that's the main thing, So if you wrap all of those things together, you should be okay.
You should be a great session player.
You should be okay. But have your style as well, because that's why people will book you. You know, if you have a style.
You know, you have to stand out somehow.
Yeah, so people want you for that style. Like that American drummer, Jim Keltner. He played on loads of stuff. I mean, he still does play. But he has such a style that you could close your eyes, press play on a song, and you probably know it's him playing because of his style. You know, the same with Flea from the Chili Peppers. He's played on Alanis Morissette. He's played with the Mars Volta. Obviously, he's played with the Chili Peppers. He's played with so many bands. But when you hear that bass playing, you know it's him. You know, it's just, even no matter what song, like, you know, on an Alanis Morissette song,
you know
just
in
it's
a
Flea.
second that it's him.
You're like, I recognize that bass playing from somewhere, you know. So that's very important to have a style as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But how is it with you? Like, because you're so versatile, you do so many different things. As we said at the start, I got it here. You know, like, from what I learned about you, I think that your heart is with Black Bank Folk. This is like your main project. This is right. Am I right?
Definitely, yeah.
And so, but you do so many things. You're also like a producer. I think producer you are also for the Black Bank Folk Band, an engineer, and it's a manager as well. And you coordinate events. I think that's also for the Poor Boys wedding band. But like, is the Black Bank Folk Band or you're a session player? Like, there's so many things. What do you love most? And are there parts or things that you do sometimes that you don't like as much, but you just have to do it, you know? Yeah,
I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, I love playing music anyway. So, I mean, I enjoy all elements of all the different bands, whether it's playing a wedding. Like, the wedding band, I'm very lucky. Myself, Niall, and Tim McGrath, our drummer, we've been together. We were in a couple of original bands before. So we've been together probably about 25 years, maybe more. And, you know, we know each other so well. We get along so well. So it's fun. So even though you might go, you have to play a wedding tonight, and you have to play, you know, Michael Bublé or whatever for your first dance, whatever song you think, cheesy first dance, you know, because you're playing it with them lads, you know, and Essa as well. Like, we have different guitar players, so Essa would be one of our main guitar players. So we get along well. We all know each other. We all have little jokes. So you'd be playing, you'd be laughing at it. Like, you'd be in the middle of a song, you'd be making someone else laugh, or our singer Noel would say some word that only we'd pick up on, not the crowd. You know? So we have fun. That's the main thing, is that's why we've been doing it for so long. And it's with all the bands, you have fun. Like if music isn't fun, there's no point in doing it, you know.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
You know, it's true for all of them. Like Black Bank Folk, I suppose Black Bank Folk is, you know, artistically it is I suppose the most fulfilling, because you know,
yes.
you know, we write the songs together, and you know, you can see them, and that's probably the style of music I like the most when it's out. Like I like so many different styles of music, but Black Bank Folk is at the moment, it's like all those different styles that I like seems to be all blended into one band. You know, I'm not listening to a song going, oh, I don't like that song, and that's probably where the production side of it comes in. Is like I might be sent like an idea, like Jimmy might send me an idea, and I go, okay, that's quite singer-songwritery. I said, okay, well, I need to bring that into Black Bank Folk. How do we do that? And then, you know, you might send it on to Sean. I might do a little bit of work adding it, like, so maybe some, you know, bass and guitar and maybe some keyboard stuff, or, you know, some rhythms. And then I'd send it on to Sean, and he'd add something on him. And then I'd send it back to Jim and go, look, check this out. This is what we've done here. What do you think? Like, and he'd go, oh, yeah, I like that. And then he'd put a vocal down on it. And I suppose, so it's you know, it just is, artistically, I suppose that's why it's so kind of important to me and so fulfilling.
It's most fulfilling, like if you get to create songs and create something, you're like so involved, and it's so...
Absolutely.
It's probably a completely different story than if you just play for someone else. But if your own songs are being recorded, and you know, it's a different thing. It's like,
that's it. I mean, I'm lucky with some of the other session stuff that I do, like playing with Damien Dempsey or Jerry Fish. Like I'm big fans of them anyway. So like, you know, with Damien, I was a fan of Damien's, like, you know, long before I got to play with him. You know, so
how did that come about anyway? How did you end up playing for Damien Dempsey?
It was when we were with Jack L, with myself, Dara, and with Andy and our drummer Keith. We went to America in '96, and Damien came over as the support act. So I'd heard one of his songs before, but he was only kind of starting out. And we got to see him every night, because obviously he was playing before us, and we were hanging out. And when we met him first, he's not far from Raheny, he's from Donaghmede. So I knew loads of people that I went to school with, or were friends of mine, were friends of his, so we had lots in common. And then we ended up, by like maybe third or fourth gig, we ended up getting up with him for a few songs. Myself, Dara, Keith and Andy would get up and play maybe 3 songs on his set. And then when we got back over the years, he would do some recording with me, and on and off over the years we'd play together. And then I was kind of playing with him then on and off over the years since, like, you know. But as I said, I was a huge fan anyway. So it's just, it's like being at your favourite gig, but being able to see it from the stage, you know. Jerry's as well. I mean, Jerry Fish is, like, he's one of the best performers I've ever played with, you know, in terms of like kind of like stagecraft and how he can work a crowd, and you know, and just kind of like he'd jump off in the middle of he'd be in the middle of the crowd, you'd be like, where, you can't see him, you're looking for a cue for a song, he's like, where the hell's Jerry? But he's so, like, he's been doing it so long that he just has it down, and you know, and they're great lads in the band, you know, Grum and Dave and Bill and all. So it's just like, again, it's just playing with fellas you like and you enjoy playing with, you know. So then it just becomes easy. It's like you're meeting up with your mates, you know, you're having a good time. It's, you know, it makes it so much easier. Like, so,
And
John,
is it true that like most of the musicians that you played with along with for Damien Dempsey also work for Black Bank Folk?
Yeah.
Or they also came to record for Black Bank Folk?
Yeah, that's where I met, like, especially for our first album and for bits of our second album. We had John McLaughlin, who would have been Damien's guitar player and bouzouki player and mandolin player. He played on the first 2 Black Bank Folk albums. Eamon DeBarra is the same. He's whistles and flute. He played Sean McKeown, who's in Black Bank Folk. He's Damien's uilleann pipe player. And then another one of Damien's fiddle players, Sean Regan, again played on first 2 Black Bank Folk albums, and they're just
amazing.
Lovely
That's
fellas.
amazing.
They're amazing musicians, lovely fellas, and it was just like our demos for the first album were quite extensive, but they were just limited to what we could do. So, you know, once we got it to the lads, and then I remember getting the mix back from Scott Holliday, who mixed our first 2 albums, and just hearing what the lads had done, because we weren't used to listening to that, because we were only used to listening to the demos, and it was just like they just breathed life into the songs, you know. They were at a level with the demos, and then we had the lads playing on it, and all of a sudden it just became, that's what they should sound like, you know. But yeah,
I love these moments when you hear your own songs for the first time.
And they
it's so thrilling, you know.
It's beautiful.
I love these moments.
When they start to bloom, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Totally, yeah. You
wonderful.
get hairs in the back of your neck standing up, and
Yeah.
at the start of Rising, Eamon plays a whistle at the start. So it's like it's me playing guitar for a bit, then this whistle comes in, and I just remembered like the hairs in the back of my neck when I was first walking around. I was walking around the park where I used to live with the dogs, and I had it on the headphones, and I was like, oh, gee. And I was like, I think I rang Jim straight away, and it's like, did you listen to it? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, fucking amazing, isn't it? He's like, yeah.
Wow. Same thing happened, you know, when we heard both of the albums and we heard what you were doing. Same thing all the time, every song. It was really, just goosebumps all over. It really wonderful.
John, do you have any? You've played so many concerts the last years. Are there any like funny moments or things that happened to you as a band, or you know, like no electricity or something like that? If there's something that comes to your mind, or drunkard singing into your microphone,
you've plenty of that.
Falling off the stage.
No, I've never fallen off the
because
stage.
every musician get asked this question, you know. Are there any interesting like backstage stories or something, you know?
I'm trying to think.
You don't have to answer if
I mean, I'm trying to think. I remember like we were gigging in the band 16 Layers. We were gigging in Canada, and the owners of this bar we were playing in were nuts. They were Irish as well, but they were just crazy. So like in the middle of the gig, they were jumping up on stage and pouring Jägermeister down your neck, and you're like, and you're sticky all over your guitar, and your fingers are sticking. It's like, a few things like that.
How funny!
I've fallen off stage before. I mean, I have been drunk on stage, but not too bad. Yeah, so. No, there's not too much.
You're lucky if you can still play then.
Yeah, there's not too much. I mean, we've had some really nice moments where I love the gigs where you stay over. Like, so you might do 2 gigs in a row. A lot of the time now you go home straight after the gig. Whereas you love the ones where you might be playing 2 places, you know, the next night, so you get to stay there the next day, and you know, you get to hang out, and if it's a nice vibe. We did some when we were with Black Bank Folk in Denmark last September. We were staying in the venue, and we were there for 3 nights. So we did so we did the Friday night, and was a big, and you know, we had a fair old session afterwards, and then the next day we went to there was a cafe not too far from the venue that we were playing in. So we just kind of sat up, no PA, no microphones, we sat up in a line, myself, Mark, Sean and Jimmy, and like the place was full, and everyone was sitting down, everyone was quiet. It was like 1 o'clock in the day. They gave us some really nice local beer, so we're just sipping on that and just playing the songs and just talking about them. And Sean did a great introduction on the pipes and just talking about the pipes, and then he played this lovely piece. And it was just a really nice atmosphere. I think a lot of it was down to the fact that we were probably a bit hungover and carrying a bit from the night before. So once we'd had those daytime beers, it settled in really nicely. But it was just lovely, and it was a lovely atmosphere, and it was great to hear the songs stripped back with no monitors or no microphones or anything like that. So you really look for like gigs like that. You remember them, and you know, even it mightn't be the biggest gig in the world, but just the vibe was perfect, you know.
Yeah. So, but you have been touring a lot. Like also, years ago, you talked about Canada and Denmark, and where else did you tour around the world, and with whom? You know, with what band?
Well, but Paddy Casey, I probably toured the most. In terms of like when I joined Paddy, he just put his album out, Living, which was a huge album for him. We toured all over the UK, and then we were over in LA as well, and you know, we did some great gigs over there. And then he did some massive gigs in Ireland. We supported U2 as well. We supported U2 in Croke Park, and we supported them in Norway as well.
Wow.
So yeah, but
Amazing.
Paddy had probably had the best opportunity for like, you know, outside proper touring.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, some lovely gigs with Paddy.
Did you go with a tour bus or how did you tour around?
Yeah, we had a tour bus. So I mean, I think I joined Paddy. The bass player was leaving, and a couple of my friends were in the band. The drummer was in the band. I knew Tim, and the guitar player Andy. He was my mate as well. So I did the audition, got the gig, and then it was like, okay, we're gigging in London next week, and then so I did that gig in London, and then it was like, okay, we're in the next 3 days we're going on a tour of the UK. So we were gone for 2 weeks on a bus, up and down from we were in Glasgow, Edinburgh, right down to Bournemouth. And everywhere in between, you know. So it was great, great fun on the tour bus, you know. Great bunch of lads in Paddy's band, and ladies. Fiona, the keyboard player, she was, you know. So just great group of people, like the tour manager and everyone. Like it was just very enjoyable, and just like, you know, we were really good. The band had been playing ages up to that point anyway. So once I slotted in, well, you know, the band was really tight and the gigs were great. Paddy was in great form, you know. So, and it was like, you know, the crowds were loving it as well. So yeah, it was great fun.
And what was the longest you had been gone, like to tour around?
Probably Canada. When we were at 16 Layers, we were gone for 8 weeks, I think, in total.
All right.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we kind of, I think it was. Maybe it was either 4 or 8 weeks. I'm not sure which, but that's the longest anyway. Either a month or 2 months is the longest.
Yeah.
But we kind of based ourselves in Toronto, and then kind of went out from there. We went out with a local Canadian band and down to the kind of border, and then up and did a couple of gigs in Montreal, and then
nice.
You know, so then back to Toronto and a load of gigs there. So that was probably the longest we've been out. Like so.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. And did you love touring, or what are like the highlights or the things, the challenges there?
You do, but obviously now that I have a family, you know, I think I'd probably miss the lads too much if I was gone too long. You know,
sure,
and you know, after at the start it's great, and then after a while you kind of like, you know, it's just you're not too happy with hotel rooms, or you know, you're sitting on the bus all the time, or. So that's it. That's the thing. I think I'd probably just like, you probably would miss the family a lot more now than, you know, when I was touring at the start.
Of course,
So
John, if you could play for any artist, who would it be? Difficult question.
Well, I suppose realistically, at the time.
No, it doesn't have to be. No.
No, well,
it could be Elvis.
I'm trying to think. The problem is most of the bands that I love them because of the bass players. So if I was in the band, that major reason for me to be gone, you know. And then the other artists, if you think of someone without a bass player, you're going. But then you like the sound because they've no bass player, you know. I suppose I really
so
like,
maybe it's Black Bag Folk Band.
Yeah, exactly. I really like the vibe of the band, you know, the band. I really like their vibe. I mean, I think it would have been really nice to be in that band. It just seemed
Which band, sorry?
They're called The Band.
The Band,
So it was just a really nice vibe with that. Well, it seemed like it. So, you know, that or... I mean, if I was a better traditional player, I'd love to have played with the Dubliners. It just looks like it'd be a fun group to play with. That's probably it. Yeah, or someone heavy like, I mean, I'd love, if I had the chops, I would love to have played with like Metallica or, you know, Queens of the Stone Age or something like that. Or I love the I love the band Interpol, and they lost their bass player a while ago, and they don't really have a permanent bass player, Interpol. So if you're watching, lads,
there's your
I'd
chance
love to play. You never know.
You never know. Amazing. By the way, did you talk to Christy about that? Because we learned from him that he used to play with the Dubliners a couple of times, you know, like
as a banjo player.
As a banjo player.
Right. No, I never met him.
Have you? Oh, you never met Christy?
No.
Oh, all right.
You know, he's the owner of the mill. You know?
I never really met him, you see.
Ah, okay.
Oh no!
So Christy, if you're watching,
We'll have to change that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he talked to us about it, and he told us about, we had all these stories with the Dubliners, and it was so much fun to listen to that. You'll have to talk to Christy then.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
Amazing. So I think, I think we're going to ask you the last question.
Yeah.
If that's, because we have a question that we're planning on asking all of our podcast victims. And it's a question, I think it's just so interesting. I love that. And we wanted to know, when are you happiest?
It probably no, it doesn't sound sad, corny. But when I'm sitting on the couch with the family watching a movie for the boy with the lads, So we're all the four of us are squashed on the couch. Probably there's a dog in behind somebody, and there's another dog trying to get up on the couch. So it's all we're all squashed on the couch and you're rammed. And, it's just nice. It's lovely and cozy and comfy. And one of the lads is sitting on you watching the telly, and you're watching some good movie like, I don't know, Zootropolis or Storks or Sing or one of those. One of the anime.
Or Cool Runnings.
Yeah. So that's probably it. Yeah, it's just lovely and calm. Or playing with them in the sea in the summer. Like we had a lovely summer this year, and we'd go down every day at about 12. And Sarah would have to go back up to work after lunchtime, but we'd have sometimes we'd stay there for the rest of the day, just playing in the sea with the lads, and it's great. No, you don't have to do anything. If you don't have to do anything that night, you've your day free. All you have to do is just go back up the steps into the house, and whatever.
Wow.
That is incredible. How wonderful.
That's so
and I remember
beautiful.
I traveled to Wexford. It's so beautiful. And to live as close to the sea must be amazing.
It's brilliant, yeah. Especially when the weather's good, you just, even just the views when the weather's bad and the storms, is how you just see it, see the waves and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's so beautiful.
How beautiful.
Wonderful, Jon. Hey, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you so much, Jon.
For taking your time.
It's been a pleasure.
And
thank you so much.
And it's been great, because that way we could learn so much more about you. And we didn't really have the time in the studio, to really talk as much and to know what we have been doing so far. So it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jon. You keep